What it do, y'all? Welcome back to the Mic Check Podcast. This is T Word, the People's Champ. Thanks for tapping in. Today we're talking about Naoya Inoue versus Stephen Fulton in a recent fight on Tuesday. But before we get into the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We appreciate that feedback. We got a watch goal that we're looking forward to you guys fulfilling for us. Go ahead and run some of these playlists. Check out our content in long form and let us know what you think in the comment section. That being said, let's get right into it. Before I get right into our topic, I do want to say you may have noticed there's been an absence of videos over the last week. We're not dodging any smoke or anything like that. Had some personal things come up where we just couldn't get the content out, but we are going to catch up and get things out as we can, especially with the mega fight happening on Saturday between Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. All right, that being said, Naoya Inoue, Stephen Fulton. This was a highly anticipated matchup. Everybody, including myself, expected a very tit for tat, skill for skill type of matchup. And unfortunately, we weren't treated to that. It looks like Naoya Inoue completely outclassed Stephen Fulton, who is one of my favorite fighters. He's somebody I enjoy his style. I like that he's smooth and slick. He's got a lot of those things that you like about Shakur Stevenson within his game as well. However, when it came to the monster, his lack of power really showed up in this fight. Naoya Inoue was able to have that very swift, fast, straight line jab that just gave Stephen Fulton trouble throughout the entire fight. And then his power punches were very accurate and effective. There were rounds where Naoya Inoue landed more punches than Stephen Fulton threw. And that's typically going to be a problem for you. And this isn't going to discredit or take anything away from the monster. He showed up. A lot of people had concerns about him moving up to 122, including myself. I don't automatically give you the next division because you do so well in the lower class. I expect you to have to come up and show that you can do that. And he proved a lot of people wrong, including me. I expected a really tough fight going in. I expected a different game plan from Stephen Fulton. I thought that he might try to close distance, stand and throw a little bit more often and work where he was better than Monster, which is in the pocket. However, he was extremely tentative from the beginning. He wouldn't let his hands go. He literally basically had his hands in his pocket. And, you know, that's where he seemed to struggle the most in this particular fight. There was no offense. And then in his few spurts, he was effective enough to land punches, which would be able to win you rounds. However, he wasn't able to do damage and force Naoya Inoue to reconsider coming in with reckless abandon. There were times where Inoue would square up and just let his hands go on him because he wasn't afraid of what was coming back. And when you empower your opponent with a lack of fear, you're going to have a long night because they're going to come forward. And if there's somebody who's a power puncher like this guy, the monster's going to lay you out at some point. Eventually, he caught up to Stephen Fulton with a nice combination that put him on the canvas early in the 8th round, and then he was able to finish him in that same round. And this was coming off of what many think was the best round for Stephen Fulton, round 7. So we thought that it might be a little swinging of the tide. However, round 8, the fight ends, and the monster is now unified champion, and he's a champion in his 4th division. So to credit him, shout out to him for growing up, showing up, and building himself into a strong 122-pound fighter. He met in the middle of the ring with Marlon Tapales, who's the other unified champion at super bantamweight. So we can expect that fight by the end of the year. So this is going to be something historic. He will be the first, or he could, let's say could. I don't want to assume Tapales could bring something that we've never seen. He may have a stronger chin than Fulton. We don't know. So let's just say Naoya Inoue has an opportunity to become undisputed in back-to-back years and around December, 2 years in a row. That would be unheard of. Obviously, it's a little bit easier path in this particular division because there was only 2 champions. He didn't have to go and scoop up the belts individually. So if he is able to get Tapales in the ring and make that fight, there's a good chance he could be undisputed by the end of the year. But all credit to him. He's definitely proven and shown why he's a pound-for-pound top 1 or 2 fighter. I can't disagree or argue with that in any way. All credit. I'd love to see him, you know, kind of get his name out there a little bit more, come fight in the U.S. a little bit more. I understand the money's great over there. He's got great backing and support. But in order to really raise his profile, he's already 30. So in order to, you know, maximize his income, if that's something he desires, he's going to need to come over here to the U.S. and fight in some other countries and take on some of these other challenges, which is going to be required when he gets up to maybe around 126. And with that being said, we're going to leave it there because I'm going to have a separate video where we talk about these crazy ass people talking about Naoya Inoue versus Gervonta Tank Davis. I got some thoughts on that, and we're gonna spend a whole video just talking about the dynamics of why that's a badass idea. But we'd love to get your thoughts about this fight, Fulton versus Inoue, and the result. And were you surprised by the way it finished, or surprised by the round, or Stephen Fulton's performance at all? This has been T for the Mic Check Podcast. Until the next time I'm out. Peace.